I always enjoy coming to these conferences because somewhat like Erica and Nesvold, it's where I, as a scientist, get to come and play around as if I were a philosopher, which I'm not trained as, but I enjoy thinking about the questions. And so today, I'm going to address the question, should we become a multiplanetary species? And according to some accounts, at least, humanity faces a rather stark choice. We can stay here on this planet and inevitably face some sort of doomsday event, whether it's a natural catastrophe like an asteroid collision or just the sun and everything dying, or a human-caused event such as thermonuclear war or malevolent AI. But something in the end is going to come and get us and lead to the extinction of humanity here on Earth. The alternative is that we can become a spacefaring, multiplanetary species, and if we establish our presence beyond Earth in other locations, then the extinction of humans on Earth will not be the end of humanity, but we will persist for a very long time in the future. So, the appeal of becoming multiplanetary is apparent, but should we really do that? And I want to look at this as an ethical question. But before I do that, I want to refine the question a little bit and make sure that we're understanding what we're really considering here. The term multiplanetary is important, and what we're really talking about is more than just setting up a base on the moon or exploring and sending humans into space, but it means to really become a multiplanetary humanity. We would need to establish settlements that are completely self-sufficient, that could exist without material or technical support from Earth. It would mean that these populations on other planets could survive without any input of additional humans from Earth, so reproduction would have to take place. You have to have viable populations. And so it's not clear that we're close to being able to make that actually happen yet. We have not successfully established any self-sufficient reproducing populations anywhere other than on Earth or in any enclosed environments. Also, the term multiplanetary may be somewhat misleading in that the habitats that we occupy in space may include many things other than just planets. We could be, of course, talking about Earth's moon or the moons of other planets such as Jupiter or Saturn as potentially places for human habitation, or we could construct artificial habitats, things like the cylinders proposed by Jared K. O'Neill, or other sorts of artificial environments. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Also, the term species needs to be thought about a little bit more carefully because at this point in time, there's only one human species on Earth, but in relatively recent evolutionary history, we've shared this planet with other species that, particularly if you think of, say, the Neanderthals, we know that they had relatively sophisticated behaviors. They produced cave art. They adorned their bodies. Ornamentally, they had burial rituals, or at least obvious intentional burial of the dead, and things like that that would make us think of them as potentially other humans. And so there's no reason to think that evolution won't continue in the future. In fact, the space environment probably will have very strong selective pressures, and that coupled with likely fairly small population sizes for the initial founding communities would likely lead to rapid evolution. And this could also be enhanced by artificial selection or intentional genetic engineering to adapt humans to the space environment. And so it's very likely that in the longer term, we may have more than one species as we move to inhabit other places in space, if that's what we do. So, as a refined question, what I'm really addressing is, should humanity, as an evolutionary lineage descending from our species, Homo sapiens, should it promote its long-term persistence by becoming dispersed in space, forming self-sustaining populations at multiple locations, planets, moons, and or artificial habitats beyond Earth? Not nearly as pithy as the original question, but perhaps more accurate, although there's still some lingering questions that I'm not going to address, such as what we would think about the fact if future descendants, biological descendants of ours, evolve in a way that become very unlike current humans, or what about artificial descendants, digital descendants, you might say, of us if we were to, say, upload our consciousness into computers or have robotic descendants that we might send into space. I'm not going to treat those sorts of scenarios. I haven't really thought about them enough to have much to say on those issues. But, and this is the part of the talk I just condensed over the break to try to stick to my 15-minute limit, so I'm going to just very quickly allude to the long history that there has been of people thinking about inhabiting the space environment, going back to one book that I ran across by John Wilkins in 1638, about the same time frame as the Ben Jonson work that we talked about earlier, where he wrote about the discovery of a world in the moon and envisioned the possibility of humans inhabiting that space. Novelist or author Edward Hale, who wrote The Brick Moon, describing the launch of an artificial satellite that did sort of accidentally, as it were in the story, send humans to inhabit at least orbital space. The Russian rocket scientist Konstantin Tsiolkovsky certainly had a vision of humans inhabiting space. He's often quoted as saying that Earth is the cradle of humanity, but one cannot live in a cradle forever. And then the American physicist Jared K. O'Neill in the 1970s wrote a book, The High Frontier, that examined the possibility of constructing artificial habitats in space, including cylindrical structures that would rotate and provide artificial gravity. Jeff Bezos, Blue Origin, speaks about his inspiration from O'Neill's work and his motivation to move polluting industries off of Earth, and therefore reap benefits for Earth in that way. And of course, Elon Musk has been quite vocal about his dreams of establishing people on Mars and becoming a multiplanetary species. So why should we become a multiplanetary species? Okay. I'm going to look at this from 3 points of view. One, an anthropocentric point of view, from the perspective of humanity. Second, from what I call a Gaian point of view, or what benefits there might be to Earth and its ecosystems. And finally, from a cosmic point of view. So from an anthropocentric point of view, arguments have been made that we should become multiplanetary because this will benefit humanity. Various benefits have been pointed to. Largely, the argument often goes along mitigating risks of extinction, as I sort of alluded in the first framing of the options there. But also, there might be technological spin-offs, innovation that would benefit humans, or it may just be that this fulfills some deep desire that we have to explore new frontiers. Perhaps this is often framed as it's our destiny. I'll just quickly say with respect to existential risks, that these can be estimated, and particularly those who aspire to or advocate sort of a philosophy of long-termism argue that our decisions should be weighted strongly by what happens in the very long term. Will argue that, well, by becoming multiplanetary, this would increase the number of people that could live in the universe for a longer period of time, and this greater number of lives is a good thing. And so here's some estimates of the number of future lives you might have under different scenarios of inhabiting solely the Earth, or expanding to the solar system, or expanding throughout the Milky Way. Also, there could be good spin-offs from this, from becoming multiplanetary, but my question is whether really those spin-offs, whether we couldn't also get as much benefit to humans just by focusing on developing new technologies that are Earth-based. And finally, the notion that somehow there's something essential to human nature to go and conquer new territory. To me, that just echoes the concept of manifest destiny, and I would have to conclude that transposing sort of 18th and 19th century attitudes towards frontier expansionism into the 21st century and beyond is not really the way we need to be thinking about these things. From a Gaian perspective, it may be possible that there would be benefits to Earth by reducing need to exploit resources here on Earth if we have access to space resources. Sometimes, not so often recently, but the argument is made we could use space as sort of a place to put excess population. I find those arguments relatively unconvincing for a number of reasons. But let me quickly get to the cosmic point of view, which argues that there's something beyond just benefit to humans that there's something better, the world is a better place with more life, with humans spread more widely because that spreads life or intelligence or moral agency, something like that, more broadly in the universe. And I'll skip those particular representatives of that and just conclude with my thoughts on that cosmic point of view and say those arguments seem to rest on the assumption that what is of value, whether it's life or intelligence, consciousness, moral agency, that somehow that's rare in the universe. That may be, but I don't know that we know that for sure at this point. And then also, I just can't get away from thinking, who are we to really decide what is best from the cosmic point of view? It seems, when we as critters that like to think of ourselves as moral and intelligent argue that moral agency and intelligence is important, is that really what the universe thinks? If the universe is something that could think, I don't know. So my argument finally is that we should adopt more of a middle road and try to explore the universe at this point without going for immediate human habitation. We can put off that decision, try to understand these worlds before we occupy and transform.